If you've ever heard that masturbation can cause prostate cancer, I want you to stop right there, because one of the most persistent fears in men's health may also be one of the most misleading. And what makes this myth so dangerous is not just that it's embarrassing, it's that it pulls attention away from the things that actually matter after 50. The shocking truth is not that masturbation causes prostate cancer. The shocking truth is that shame has convinced many men to worry about the wrong risk while ignoring the real one. I'm Dr. Leana, and today we need to talk about this honestly, clearly, and without the nonsense. Because prostate cancer is not some fringe issue. It is one of the most common cancers in men, and age changes the conversation dramatically. About 6 in 10 prostate cancers are found in men older than 65, and the chance rises rapidly after age 50. That means for many men watching this, especially those over 50 or 60, this is not about curiosity anymore. It is about understanding what is real, what is false, and what could help you catch a serious problem early while it is still treatable. Now let's be fair to the myth for a moment, because bad ideas often survive by sounding just believable enough. A lot of men think the prostate is involved in ejaculation. Masturbation involves ejaculation. So maybe frequent masturbation somehow irritates the gland, stresses it, inflames it, or wears it down. That sounds plausible on the surface. But the body is not a car tire that gets damaged simply because it is used. Biology is not that simple. And cancer, especially prostate cancer, does not begin because a gland was used too much. It begins when cells lose control over their growth. That is a DNA problem, a cell regulation problem, not a moral problem and not a masturbation problem. Here is what prostate cancer actually is. Inside the prostate, which is a small gland below the bladder that helps make seminal fluid, cells are constantly receiving signals about when to grow, when to repair, and when to die off. Cancer starts when some of those cells accumulate DNA changes that let them keep dividing when they should not. Think of it like a repair crew that stops obeying the blueprint. Instead of controlled maintenance, you get uncontrolled construction. Age matters because the longer you live, the more chances cells have to accumulate mistakes. Some of those mistakes come from normal wear over time. Some are influenced by inherited genes. Some may involve hormonal signaling. But that is a very different story from saying masturbation causes cancer. And this is where the conversation gets more important after 50. The strongest established risk factors for prostate cancer are not mysterious. They are older age, family history, ancestry, and certain inherited gene changes. Men of African ancestry have a higher risk. Men with a father, brother, or son who had prostate cancer have a higher risk. And inherited variants, including some BRCA-related risks and other genetic patterns, can raise risk further. In other words, if you want to understand your prostate cancer risk, the question is not, how often did I masturbate? The better question is, how old am I? What is my family history? What is my ancestry? And have I had the right screening conversation yet? So now let's answer the big question directly. Does masturbation cause prostate cancer? Based on the best available evidence, no. There is no good evidence that masturbation increases prostate cancer risk. In fact, the better designed long-term studies point in the opposite direction. That does not mean masturbation is a treatment. It does not mean there is a magic number. And it definitely does not mean every headline you see on the internet is reliable. But it does mean the old fear that masturbation somehow triggers prostate cancer is not supported by the science. One of the most cited studies on this question was published in JAMA. Researchers followed more than 29,000 men and looked at ejaculation frequency, which included intercourse, nocturnal emissions, and masturbation. Their conclusion was not that ejaculation increased prostate cancer risk. Quite the opposite. They found that ejaculation frequency was not related to a higher risk, and some higher frequency groups had a lower risk of total prostate cancer. That is a major point because this was not a tiny survey or a rumor passed around online. This was a large prospective study, which is a stronger design than simply asking men with cancer to look backward and guess what caused it. Then the story got even more interesting. A later follow-up analysis, published in European Urology, looked at more than 31,000 men over a longer period and found that men who reported around 21 or more ejaculations per month had a lower incidence of prostate cancer compared with men reporting 4 to 7 per month. But now we have to be adults about this. Association is not proof. It does not mean a doctor should prescribe masturbation 21 times a month. It does not prove that ejaculation alone prevents cancer. What it does say is something far more important for today's topic. Higher ejaculation frequency was not linked to higher risk, which directly undercuts the old fear-based myth. And here is a nuance that almost never makes it into the clickbait headlines. The more recent meta-analysis published in BMC Cancer found that masturbation frequency by itself was not significantly associated with prostate cancer risk, while higher overall ejaculation frequency showed an inverse association. That means when researchers zoomed out across the literature, masturbation itself did not emerge as a proven danger signal. So if someone tells you masturbation causes prostate cancer, they are not reflecting the current evidence. At best, they are repeating a cultural fear. At worst, they are spreading misinformation that can keep men from focusing on the real medical issues that deserve attention. Now, you may be wondering, why would higher ejaculation frequency possibly be associated with lower prostate cancer risk at all? Researchers have proposed several theories, but, and this part matters, they are still theories. One idea is that regular ejaculation may help clear prostatic secretions, reducing the time potentially irritating substances sit in the gland. Another theory is that it may influence inflammatory pathways or local biological signaling. There is also interest in how the prostate responds to hormonal and cellular activity over time. But none of these mechanisms have been proven strongly enough to turn into a prescription. So the scientifically honest answer is this. There may be a protective association, but the mechanism is not settled, and the evidence is not a license to oversell. But here is what most people never get told. Even when prostate cancer is present, it often causes no symptoms early on. That is one reason myths can be so deceptive. A man may spend years worrying about masturbation, while the real issue is that early prostate cancer can be silent. It often starts in a part of the prostate that does not press on the urethra right away, so there may be no dramatic warning at first. This is why relying on guilt, fear, or "I would know if something was wrong" is such a bad strategy after 50. The absence of symptoms is not the same as the absence of risk. When symptoms do show up, they deserve attention, but even then, they do not automatically mean cancer. Difficulty starting urination, a weak or interrupted stream, going more often at night, trouble emptying the bladder, pain or burning with urination, blood in the urine or semen, pelvic or back pain, and painful ejaculation can all be reasons to get checked. Many of these symptoms are more often caused by something other than prostate cancer, such as benign prostate enlargement or inflammation. But that is exactly why you do not self-diagnose based on fear or YouTube comments. You get it evaluated properly, especially if you are older, because the same symptom that is harmless in one man can be a warning sign in another. And this is where the real resolution begins. Instead of asking whether masturbation caused cancer, ask whether you have had the right screening conversation for your age and risk. The American Cancer Society recommends discussing screening at age 50 for men at average risk who are expected to live at least 10 more years, age 45 for men at higher risk, and age 40 for men at very high risk, such as those with more than one first-degree relative affected early. The USPSTF recommends individualized PSA-based screening decisions for men ages 55 to 69 and recommends against routine PSA-based screening in men 70 and older. In other words, screening is not one size fits all, but it is a conversation worth having. So what should a smart man over 50 actually do with all of this? First, stop carrying unnecessary shame about masturbation as if it were a cancer trigger. That belief is not supported by the evidence. Second, learn your family history, because that information is far more medically valuable than guilt. Third, pay attention to persistent urinary or pelvic symptoms, blood in urine or semen, or painful ejaculation, and do not brush them off. Fourth, Have a thoughtful conversation with your clinician about screening based on your age, ancestry, family history, and overall health. And fifth, remember that there is no guaranteed way to prevent prostate cancer, but healthy habits like staying active, avoiding smoking, and maintaining a healthy weight may support better overall cancer risk and may help lower the risk of more aggressive disease. I also want to say something that is emotionally important here, because men often suffer in silence around this topic. Many grew up hearing that masturbation was dirty, weakening, dangerous, or somehow a punishment waiting to happen. And when a man carries that belief for decades, especially into older age, it can distort how he interprets every sensation in his body. A little pelvic discomfort becomes terror. A change in urination becomes shame. A medical question becomes something he delays because he does not want to confess what has never been the real issue in the first place. That kind of silence can be more harmful than the habit he was taught to fear. But the real reason this matters goes deeper. When people misunderstand cancer, they often reach for simple moral explanations instead of biological ones. They want one behavior to blame, one secret habit, one clean answer. But prostate cancer does not work like that. It is shaped by aging, inherited biology, cellular mutations, hormonal context, and risk patterns that are often outside any one man's control. That is why the mature response is not panic. It is precision. It is choosing evidence over shame, clarity over superstition, and medical action over private fear. And for many men over 50, that shift alone can be life-changing. Now, does that mean sexual health does not matter? Of course not. Sexual function, comfort, erections, ejaculation, desire, urinary health, and hormone-related changes all matter, especially as men age. But they matter as part of a broader health picture. If ejaculation is painful, if there is blood in the semen, if urinary habits change suddenly, if there is pelvic pain that lingers, or if sexual function changes in a way that concerns you, the goal is not to feel guilty. The goal is to get assessed, because early action can protect quality of life. And sometimes it can uncover a problem before it becomes much harder to treat. So let's bring this home clearly. Can masturbation cause prostate cancer? The evidence says no. The strongest studies do not show that it raises risk, and some research suggests higher overall ejaculation frequency may even be associated with lower prostate cancer incidence, although that is not proof of protection and not a medical prescription. The real prostate cancer conversation is about age, family history, ancestry, genetics, symptoms, and screening decisions. That is where attention belongs. That is where men over 50 can actually make wiser choices. And that is the truth too many people never hear because the myth is louder than the science. And if there is one thing I want you to remember after this video, it is this. Do not let embarrassment make your health decisions for you. Do not let an outdated myth control the conversation. And do not wait for a crisis before you ask the questions that matter. Talk to your doctor, know your risk, pay attention to your body, and choose facts over fear. If this video helped clear up a myth you have heard for years, write facts over fear in the comments. And tell me whether you think men are given enough honest information about prostate health after 50. If you found this useful, like the video, subscribe, and share it with a man in your life who needs to hear the truth.